I think the FBI is running into a problem that there's too much to investigate. I believe they're going to have to make a summary finding as to her violation of the National Records Act, her keeping of the taking of the documents, and of course a classified portion, her activities and President Clinton's activities and Chelsea's activities in the Clinton Foundation. They're probably going to have to leave that till after the election.
Now, the Clinton email investigation going beyond the election. Did you pick that up from Congressman Issa? The Daily Caller's Alex Pappas says this could be bad news. If it does, why is that, Alex?
Well, I actually think this would be one of the worst case scenarios that Clinton's looking at, next to there being some sort of criminal indictment or even losing the election over this. Imagine that in this scenario that Issa lays out, that the FBI does something and makes some sort of announcement about the emails, but says they're going to continue investigating the Clinton Foundation. And what if she's president when this is going on? That means trying to get anything done, she's going to have this whole cloud over her. And then, you know, even imagine this general election. You're going to have Republicans saying, sure, Clinton's talking about how the 90s, those were good years for Americans. Right. But I think it's going to remind a lot of people that there were a lot of scandals during the 90s, and Republicans are going to say, Hillary Clinton gets elected president, you're going to see a lot more scandals. That's all we're going to be talking about, and this doesn't help with that.
All she wants to do, though, is be elected president, right? So to your point, wouldn't it be worse if she were to be indicted, say, as some people have speculated, now or the next few weeks or before the election is resolved or before the convention in July? I mean, isn't that the worst case? You actually think this would be worse for Mrs. Clinton?
Well, I mean, of course, we don't know what the FBI is going to say. I mean, in a best-case scenario, she would love for the FBI to come out and say, we did a lot of investigating and we found nothing here to bring any sort of charges about. I just think that in the Clintons' world, they want to get this behind them.
Yeah.
They want to be able to say, see, we said from the beginning this is nothing but Republicans that are pushing it. And which, by the way, it isn't just Republicans. There was an interesting piece written by a Bernie Sanders supporter, a liberal, that wrote on Salon, FBI, you're our last hope. So some liberals actually think that this is the sort of thing that could take her down.
That's why I mean, I know everybody's into saying he's sticking around because of the cause and he wants to get his issues heard. I'm sure that very well may be true, and maybe that's the entire reason, but you got to think there's part of him that says, boy, what if something happens, right?
Right, and and he hasn't really, Bernie Sanders himself hasn't really talked about it a whole lot. I mean, famously he said in that debate, I'm tired of talking about all these damn emails, but yes, I mean, he's still in it. I mean, he may go all the way to the convention. And just thinking, it's what we call the FBI email primary. I mean, what if something would happen between now and the convention? That's what Bernie Sanders, I think, in the back of his head is thinking about.
Well, they always say, like, part of it, a lot of it's just, in any job, just showing up, and he'd be there, and he'd have all these delegates. And, where else would they turn but to Bernie Sanders, I guess, right? I mean, people might argue for somebody else, but he's been in the race, and he's won a lot of primaries, so he would have that argument. I mean, this is way down the road in a hypothetical. Why do you think it's taking the FBI so long? Do you have any idea in your reporting? Or maybe it isn't taking as long as we think.
Well, as Issa would say, and you would imagine Issa has has good sources, considering he's the former oversight chairman, is that there's just so much information, and the more they look into it, the more they see there's a lot more stuff out there. And so Issa's saying, this is a big deal. We've talked so much about emails that they're going to have to say something. The FBI is going to have to do something before this election. But, maybe when they're looking at some of this other Clinton Foundation stuff, they're saying, we still need a little bit more time.
Some of that, imagine a president-elect or even a President Hillary Clinton still dealing with this. Well, thanks, Alex. We appreciate you coming on.